The meaning of life has no definition. It's never the same. How it's different makes it unique. For every living soul, my meaning of life is like a tree filled with leaves. Some leaves fall and others don't. Like the million of stars stuck in space, waiting to be discovered. Like fire can cause war or peace. Like money, used and wasted, abused and hated, loved and wanted. But is there a meaning to it? Is there a meaning to your life? I don't know. You decide. The Meaning of Life by Emily David. Woo! We're back.
We're back, people.
We are back.
And we're back with, I'm going to say, a very, very, very exciting episode.
Yes, we are very, very excited. For one, that it's October. We both love October and
Spooky
Halloween.
Season.
We are excited to be sitting here, filming, recording, doing what we do best.
Talking.
And we are very, very excited for this episode. So, to preface, I am Steph.
I'm Danny, and we're two women in our 30s navigating the trials and tribulations of life.
Raw, real, ready to talk, and we are Not in Our Will podcast.
Woo!
Back for season 2.
Season 2, people. Thank you guys so much for your support on season 1. It was really fun. Thank you for letting us have a vacation.
Yeah,
That was nice.
We had a lovely vacation. Yeah.
It went longer than anticipated, but we have
shit
a lot
happens.
we got a lot of stuff
Shit
going
happens,
on. I guess maybe we'll touch upon that on a different episode.
Yeah.
Kind of what we did and let it flow into conversations as we move forward. But today we have so much going on that who cares about what we did in the summer, because
Nobody
we're
gives
here.
a shit. Yeah,
No,
nobody
we're
gives a
here.
shit. Yeah.
And we're excited to start season 2. And to me, we're starting off season 2 with a freaking banger.
We definitely are.
Banger?
Bang.
Why does that sound
Banger and mash.
Okay. All right. No,
Yeah.
it's not a cooking episode.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else before we go right into it?
No, let's get right into it.
Okay. Today we have a special guest.
Very special guest, yes.
Her name is Amanda Dubois, and she is a medium as well as a whole variety of other wonderful things. So Amanda's going to come in. We're going to sit with Amanda. I'm going to interview her, ask her some questions. You're going to ask her some questions. Things about her work, but some things that I've been like, I just want to know. I have so many questions. I'm very, very...
We're excited for this one for sure.
But beyond that, after we kind of do a little bit of an interview process here, we will be, she's going to be reading us. And I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like, because from my understanding, she kind of has different ways that she could read somebody. So we'll kind of going to let that happen as it does.
Yeah, naturally,
With that being said, if in our readings there might be something personal, we might decide to take that out for our own safety and sanity.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we are raw and would like to kind of express as much as we can. Also, with that being said, it might be a very long episode. Who knows? We don't know.
We'll see.
But let me tell you a little bit about Amanda. So Amanda Dubois, she's a CCA certified spiritual empowerment coach. She's internationally known as an intuitive psychic medium and empath, a Reiki healer, an aqua lead, and a Queldon master. Do I know what any of those last 3 were?
No. But we're going to find out.
Yes. We're going to learn together.
We're going to find
out. She is also a paranormal investigator, and she clears homes. So those are 2 different things here. But she was featured on season 3 of Paranormal Survivor as an expert consultant for a local case in our region, so Niagara region. And one of her favorite things that she does is changing the energy of a home from negative to positive, and allowing current and former residents to feel completely at peace. So we're going to touch upon those 2 things, because that's really, to me, the...
Oh, yeah, I sage it every time I get into a new house.
So many cool things to learn and listen to her about with that. So finally, Amanda's mission is to best utilize her abilities and skills in a way that will positively impact the living and non-living. She's passionate about helping souls find their path, which leads them to inner peace. She fulfills this excitedly by presenting at speaking engagements and by running educational spiritual gatherings. As well as all of her private readings and home clearings and other things that she does. She was just recently a winner of the Spiritual Excellence Halo Award for Top Medium in North America. And she's really excited to bring her brand of healing to the world in hopes of helping others connect to their own powers and purpose within. And we are so excited to have her.
We are so excited. Oh, Shady's
wow. Shady. Shady's like, oh, and he's got a dirty butt.
That's okay. Well, I mean, it is a spooky episode, so black cat crossing our path makes sense. But yeah, we are so excited to have her here, and it's such an honor and a privilege to start our first episode with somebody so amazing. And we hope that you enjoy the show, and we are so happy to be back. And yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's get into it. Let's welcome Amanda.
And we're back, and we have our guest, Amanda. Hi, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, we're so happy to have you.
Very excited to have you here.
So we're going to start. I have a page of questions.
We're prepared.
Well, I'm very prepared for today. I was doing my homework. So first question, how long have you been practicing for?
Professionally, 10 years, but my whole life I've had certain abilities that I've been working with.
One of my other questions was, when was your first encounter or moment that you can recall that you've heard someone, or however that looks to you?
Definitely as a child, my family was very open. Ghost stories was like our bedtime stories.
Oh, cool.
Love that. Yeah. So we were always quite in tune to the other side as a family. But it wasn't until 10 years ago that there was a loss close to me in my life that kind of changed and really amplified the way I was connecting with the other side.
Okay, so are you comfortable diving into that? So when you say your family was spiritual, so do you have other mediums or other pathfinders in the family?
They have certain different abilities, so everyone in the family. So my mother was premonitions, so she was always dreaming things that would occur. So no other professional mediums in the family, but I'm under the belief that everyone has different abilities. It's just tapping into them or being aware of them.
Do you find that if you maybe grew up in a family that wasn't as open to those sorts of things, that you would still have this path that you are on right now?
Well, and honestly, so I believe in like past lives, reincarnation. We choose the path that we're on this time, and I believe like where I'm at now, I understand why I had the childhood I had. So there was no like closing me off or disconnecting me. Like I work with a lot of older women, like 60s and maybe older, who are really trying to like reconnect to that part of them that they closed down as a child. Where I never lost that because we were open to explore it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you just made a comment about, you choose your own path. So I just heard about this idea that we are all, we have like a soul circle, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, but it's something that I heard recently. But before you come to Earth, you get to choose your path. So you get to choose kind of what life, and that could determine whether you have a difficult life or maybe it's a little easier going, or you're supported or not supported. I don't know if I'm wording that right.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
cool.
Absolutely.
So is that right?
Well, so honestly, the great thing about spirituality is kind of what you believe and what resonates with you. So I'll often say like my beliefs are. Doesn't have to be your beliefs, but that's like the great thing. It's like life is whatever you want it to be, whatever you're making it.
Is a good kind of model for just everything and anything. Just beat.
I feel like that's how I feel about life as well. Like you believe what you want to believe. Everybody has their own choice, their own path, and I feel like we're very similar in that way. For sure.
Are there? This is another thing that I heard recently. Is there's like older souls and younger souls? Is that?
Well, some more wiser souls,
definitely,
and there's souls. So we all have our mission here, and it's to learn and to live and love. But then there's some souls, much like yourselves, who we have a double mission. As like, I don't like labels, but to give context, like a light worker. We're here to help bring peace to the suffering, because humans are suffering. So in that sense, like us taking on a double mission puts us in the wiser soul category, because we've lived all these lives and we have this accumulation of all this knowledge and these gifts and abilities and powers, and honestly even just this passion to like help humans. This is where it's hard, so let's all make it easier. So but that's not for every soul. There's some souls coming here to Earth who like this is maybe their first
That's what I've heard.
Right? And they just
they make a little like I going off of that, I've heard that, and it's like you make kind of almost childish mistakes. You're learning the hard way to get through life, and I heard that you also a lot of times in relationships might choose a wiser soul so they can help guide you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Look at you.
See, I know something.
It's comforting, honestly.
Yeah,
You really
yeah,
find
yeah.
out about it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Okay, so going off of the light work, so you touched upon that, but you also, I read that you do, excuse me if I say this wrong, Reiki?
Reiki.
Reiki.
Yeah.
Reiki.
A Reiki I've seen on TikTok all the time is
Yes.
that's,
yeah.
you know, your hands moving and if whoever's,
Taking out negative energy.
is that what it is?
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. Clearing the negative or non-beneficial energy from our aura and our energetic body, and realigning and balancing our chakras, the energy spinning centers. As empathic humans and just sensitive humans, we tend to just like be bogged down with like negativity or just stuff from outside and external, right?
Yeah.
So whether saging or using a pendulum or any kind of salt or cleansing with water, it's helpful to just kind of
Wash it out.
shed the
Get
stuff.
it out.
Yeah.
Like a snake shedding its skin.
Yeah.
There you go. Because it could start brain fog, mental unclarity, just starting to feel depressed or anxious. Like it might not be yours all the time.
Yeah.
So it's helpful to have these practices to just
I need some of that, Melanie.
neutralize it. Yeah.
She's like, you do. I
Yeah.
came in and I know. So, and then in your bio, you talk about Aqua Lead and Quelden Master.
So Aqua Lead is, I have this power packed session, I call it. And I provide Reiki energy. So Aqua Lead, we know that we're mostly made up of water, and we know that water holds memory. And so humans are mostly filled of trauma
Great.
from the past in our tissues. So Aqua Lead, it's another energy healing modality, also used for environmental. So we could use it towards like polluted waters and helping clear them.
Wow.
But then also transmuting that within us.
So is that an active thing that people are doing to help with pollution right now? Like
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. So energy grids. Whenever I love the water, and whenever I'm called to it, my guides are like, "Oh, you can put an energy grid here," and it's just like anchoring the Aqua Lead energy to this specific beach, and it just kind of continues to just like support and cleanse the area and anyone who comes
very
through it.
cool.
I am also one very drawn to water. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I love
Yes.
that too.
It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
cleansing and
yes.
And then Keldon is breaking the negative thought patterns that we have. So we know that our brain is like wired, and we get like stuck in these ruts and we can't seem to get out of it. So like Keldon during this session is just, it helps break those negative thought patterns. So I liken it like a truck stuck in mud. It just helps us like gain new traction and move forward, because
More positive thoughts and positive vibrations.
right.
Yeah.
We can tend to get bogged down with some of those things from our past. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You use the term pathfinder. So can you, like, what is the role of a pathfinder?
So I was looking for a new business name. I was in a partnership that had dissolved, and I was going off on my own, kind of for the first time. I'm really used to organizations and communities and people. So this was my first time going out on my own. I'm like, what am I going to call myself? And Spirit's like, Pathfinder. And I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Try again.
Right. And then I'm like, well, okay, obviously it's not coming to me right now, so I'll wait. And they kept saying that. So I have like this rule of 3. By the third time I hear something, I'm like, okay, what is that?
Okay, yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll look more into Pathfinder, and I really only saw like the Nissan Pathfinder when I was Googling it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right.
When you walked up, you said, my Pathfinder's in the
Okay, so
in the
like,
driveway.
when I'm driving and I see that, it's just like, like I feel it's like the Pathfinder's on the right path.
Yeah, I love that.
So is there a way to like summarize the idea of Pathfinder or
Guiding you to your true being.
cool?
So I've using my psychic medium abilities, I connect to spirit and your deceased loved ones, and it's just verbatim what they're saying. But then I'm also a CCA certified spiritual empowerment coach. So I've delved hard into spirituality. I know all kinds of modalities, and even just the different laws or concepts that we're kind of governed by. More in the universal sense, right? Not our societal sense.
Right.
And then they totally just
Pulled you.
Pulled it.
It's okay.
It's okay.
You don't know how many episodes that I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, I
No, we're
lost it
just like-
completely. And she's just like, I don't know where you're going, so that's fine. This is just
using these tools to help guide you to your path. We each have our own individual path, not one that's decided by anyone else. So it's really what I've discovered. It's the obstacles in our human selves that are the reason why we don't feel like we're on our path. Right? So once we can kind of get rid of some of that feelings, our parents wouldn't approve, our partners, whatever, then we're on our path.
Yeah.
Right. We're doing it.
Absolutely.
I know we did talk about a lot of the different services that you offer. Was there anything that we missed that you offer? Because I know you do some groups work.
I do a lot of group work, so intuition development is what excites me the most. I run a program called Going Within. So we're going within and learning about our different abilities, because again, I believe everyone's connecting, but you may not know and understand. So let's give some context to what's going on.
So how does that look? Because that's something I'm like, oh, okay, tell me more. Because
so it was pre-pandemic.
Okay.
And so now that we're post-pandemic, I refuse to run it online. I want to do it in person, because we're going to start with our rosemary oil. And everyone kind of takes a sniff if you're into that. Hold the clear quartz. We're going to use our tincture bells, light some sage. Like, I just like to energetically raise our vibration, so we're all just like clear and here.
Present.
And do you have people of various levels that have never?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, typically beginners. But then on a private basis, I connect more to spiritual leaders. It's not like newbies coming in and they're finding me. It's like people who are already doing this. They just need like a little freshen up.
A push.
Okay, that's
and paranormal investigating.
Yes.
We were very
interested in this.
Yeah.
I love getting into houses. I love helping people with their paranormal.
So in terms of that, one of the questions that I premeditated before I even met you, I was like, I'm wondering, what have you ever seen anything so jarring, like to the point where it's heartbreaking to you? Like you must see some things that are just hard to see, even though you're helping, even though it's for a better cause. Is there anything in terms of the paranormal investigating for that side that you've seen?
Well, honestly, I want to say like some of the hardest situations I've been in have to do with the people left behind by the people that have crossed over.
Right.
So when connecting to spirit, like it's really sensationalized in Hollywood and in movies and not really accurate.
Right.
Humanity kind of provides more emotion, whether fear-based or like devastation. So I want to say like there's been instances where like the family is so devastated by the loss, but the spirit is like right here, and it's like we're all kind of living it with them.
Yeah. Interesting.
Is there a proper term to use for people who've passed? Like, is there something just more appropriate or anything?
So I think it just depends on like who you're with. Like I'm just me and my kids. Like if he died, he's dead.
Yeah. Okay. He's dead. He's gone. Not
right.
Really.
So it depends on who you're speaking with. Like deceased, crossed over, who've passed.
Right.
Those kinds of.
So going back with the investigating. So when did that start for you?
So not right away in the I would say 8 years ago.
8 years
I've
ago.
been doing it within Niagara region and beyond, and it's one of my favorite things. Like I just love getting into a home, and I prefer blind if I can. But some clients like they give you their whole backstory and like this is the situation. Can you please help? Right. So I'm going in with a lot of knowledge, but I like to come in and just see where I'm drawn, what I feel, what glimpses. I get a lot of like history glimpses. So they may feel like there's something in the house. It could, a lot of the times it's just like lingering energy from the past people or that situation, and then you as a sensitive being, you're just like you're feeling it, right? Even like children are so sensitive and aware and can really see, and so as soon as children start getting freaked out at nights, right, the parents are like, okay, there's something happening, I can't see it. And it's really just like guiding everyone to like your kids are connecting to grandparents, so it's not really at all scary. Honestly, like more often than not, it's not any kind of negative entity.
So with the house, with the house clearing, so again, what does that look like? Like we always see the sage and all that stuff. Is that?
I do a 3-step smoke process. That definitely sage, Palo Santo, sweetgrass. I bring my pendulum in as well. Which also clears, also guides me. And then I just see if there's any energies I connect to along the way. And then in some situations, we've had to use different herb mixtures. So as a practicing witch, we'll create like a spell. We did a protection spell in a home maybe last week. So we put a bunch of different protective herbs together, all with certain intention. And then we lined the entire property when walking it, saying like salt of the earth, stone of the ground, keep this house safe and sound, and sprinkling it all around. And sometimes lining salt in eggshell doorways, windowsills. Like sometimes it needs to be elevated a bit, but not typically.
So interesting.
I know.
Is there anything for, like, first of all, is that always in connection with your work with the police? Like, no.
No, so very separate. So house clearing. So there's been cold cases and missing persons cases that I've worked on with families and just other psychics. There's one individual, his spirit, and he won't cross over. So he's stuck here and in the unknowing, and he's going to all kinds of different mediums trying to have us find his body so his mom can have the closure.
Oh my goodness.
But I spent a summer in Fireman's Park looking for bones and found multiple, and like the police were coming out, but it wasn't
Crazy.
his or anyone's for that matter.
Wow. That's so interesting.
Yeah, it gives me shivers.
I got shivers too, actually.
Be using my abilities to help that for sure.
That's really
course.
That's an awesome thing that you do. I wish I could help with that.
Yeah,
like, honestly.
same. Yeah, it's so cool.
I was gonna ask in regards to the house clearing. Is there anything like if I just wanted to cleanse my house or I felt that I needed it? Is there anything that I can do myself to clean?
All of it, yeah, absolutely. Like I recommend sage in any form. So if you're not burning it or incense, there are sprays.
Yeah, okay.
But even just a pendulum or just intentionally clearing, like opening up your windows and letting sunlight in.
Yeah,
Your room.
That's true.
I've done that much.
Yeah.
Just like cleaning,
Get that bug
organizing,
Yeah,
like that clears the energy of the room. When we're like airing out, like we're airing out the energy. So anything you do in your home helps raise that vibration in that sense.
Okay, that's.
But on that topic though, a lot of people will bring me in, they're like, oh, I have the stuff, but I don't think I could do it myself, or it won't be as good. And honestly, it's your belief that it's
You
not
have
as
to set
good.
the intention that it's going to be.
It's going to work.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then
Intention.
But
okay.
it's the doubt.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
Absolutely intention. When we first started, when we were doing our testing and stuff, one of my questions, she said to us that I'm already getting things, but I'll save it. So one of my questions is when you walked into this space, is it instant for you, or do you need a moment to kind of sit with somebody before somebody comes knocking?
So it's typically even beforehand. So when I'm driving to my session, I'm sitting with their grandma, grandpa, great aunt, or uncle, and they're talking my ear off, and I'm like, I'm just trying to like,
I'm just driving.
Let me get to my destination.
right? But they're already, or sometimes even like at home, I'm having lunch and they're already beginning, and it's like, all right. So I feel comfortable because I already know like my talking point. Say like as soon as that client sits down, to be like, okay, like I don't know if this is yours, but we're gonna go into it because this lady joined me this afternoon, and typically it is.
With that being said, do you how does readings look to you? Because I've been to a medium before, and I've straight up asked her during the meeting. It's like, she's talking to me about a specific person. I'm like, but how do you see them? Like, what do you see? So what do you see?
So it all comes differently. So I'm clairvoyant, as they'll show me pictures, or they'll come trying to show me their description. So it's also like my power and their power and how we can communicate as well. So it depends on the spirit, to be honest. I find most time they'll have an easier time communicating with me, so telepathically or thought transference. So when you were here bent down, this an older female had come forward and was like, why is she not on TV? I think she's getting there. And then like she's probably wondering also why she's
I am since I was a child. Since I was a child. That's too funny.
And then they jumped to her, and it was a vision of a travel vlog. I want to say vlog because it was video. So it was you traveling, but then like bringing people with you on your travels.
Huh. I do love to travel.
Destination wedding is what that was. I can tell you right now. That's super cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So going off that though, and you mentioned it earlier with wanting to be in person with people, but can you do readings? Well, I'm gonna guess yes because you said that they were kind of coming to you.
Oh yeah, phone or video is no problem at all. But just like groups, I'd prefer it to be in person, because
Yeah.
I was even like through the pandemic and through winter, okay, let's run a Zoom spiritual support group,
Yeah.
but people aren't here.
Mhm.
They're still in their house where they were just worried about everything, and
Yeah.
you know, as much
Yeah.
as like it was okay, it just
Mhm.
wasn't the factor I was going for.
Mhm.
But
Right. The human connection factor.
yeah,
Plays-
but,
yeah, plays
but
a
honestly,
big
trying to work around that, because we're just in Niagara, and like there's so much
Mhm.
more. So I've started a new company called Spiritual Events with my tech whisperer, and he has like technology capabilities to take us into homes of others.
That's
right?
awesome.
That's
Where
great.
That's
We
perfect.
can
Yeah.
work on that connection.
Niagara, I've heard, is a very haunted place.
Oh yes.
Oh,
There
yes.
on the lake, especially, right?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Fort
Mhm.
George. There was
Yeah.
a lot of battles
Mm.
in this area. Like Grimsby area is
Mhm.
very. I was doing something in Cook's Mills, and like there were soldiers coming up there, and then we found out there was a battle of Cook's Mills and the whole history behind that. Like there's a
Wow.
ton of history
Yeah.
here for sure.
interesting.
Yeah. It's super cool.
Let me see. I have a few more questions. Have there ever been readings where you don't get a message for someone?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes I often like we'll go 10 to 15 minutes, and if there's no connections, I'll ask them some questions. Like, have you ever done this before? Are you open to this?
Mhm.
Does that make a difference? If they're open?
Absolutely.
Mm.
Like if you're like very skeptical and closed-minded, but I mean then typically you wouldn't be having a reading with me.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah.
But like there wouldn't be stuff coming through because you don't believe that stuff will come through.
Mm.
Sometimes if you're not ready, I was at like vendor shows, and I had this older woman. She came to me twice, and she wanted to hear from her husband, but wasn't ready to hear from her husband. So like he was coming through, but she wouldn't accept. No, that doesn't sound like him.
Oh.
I don't think then like maybe he doesn't want to come to a medium, right? So I just kind of, but maybe not that long ago, like a month ago, I was at Thrive, one of the stores I work out of, and two friends had come, and they were all excited, and we did like maybe a good half an hour, and like they took nothing. They took no spirit. They took no message. They even made a comment like, "There's a whole bunch of spirits here, but none of them are mine or ours," and I was
Yeah.
like, "I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know." So
So
we
you
just,
have no control on what's...
what comes through. No.
Yeah.
No, like I kind of say with my kids, like you get what you get, you don't get upset.
Mm.
I can't control what I get. I just I try to be open, receptive, receiving, but I also need the person across from me to be the same,
there.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense.
But then, so when I left that, I was just like, "Is this it? Like, are we done? We're not working together no more?" Like, and I had a psychic party booked that evening, so it was like, "Okay, well, we're gonna see, right?"
Yeah,
and like it was
was
fine.
fine.
It was good, yeah.
So that's crazy.
Right.
You talked about earlier like negative spirits or negativity. Is it easy for you to identify good from bad, both in our present day and people who have passed?
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, maybe like even like a good thing as well. Yeah, there's definitely maybe spirit that have crossed over and of the light are typically always good. They're crossed over and of the light, right? So lower level energy, so spirits that maybe don't cross over, so ghosts, the ones that are like stuck, they also feel differently, and they might cause some problems with humanity. If you've heard of like possessions or like walk-ins or jump-ins, like spirit attachments, they can be responsible for that. But then also like my beliefs, I believe like hell is on earth and evil resides here, and evil dark spirits can kind of take over and kind of hop into different lives and different bodies and kind of create chaos. And one of my abilities is reading auras, and sometimes people's auras are black. And so that's a very good indicator. To me, it's just like, stay away.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I will not be near this person. And really, I've never had like a person with a black aura try to work with me.
Yeah.
But it's just like out in public, it's like, like you just...
Cringy,
So
yeah.
when you walk, is it like a color that just stands out to you, and like you're walking down the street, you see just
No,
you're
it's
blue,
more
you're
like
gray.
being nosy type aspect, right? Like
Okay.
you just kind of get that feeling, and as like a woman, we've all gotten that feeling
Oh, yeah,
of just
for sure.
like creepy, don't
Yeah,
go there.
yeah,
So you kind of get that, right?
Get
And
that
it's
weird, ooh,
what's going on? And then you're just like looking around, you're like, oh, okay, there's that person, right?
Yeah,
but no,
yeah.
I'm not just out there looking around because
Yeah.
I don't care, right?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I'd be nosy and be like, oh, you're bad, you're bad.
I mean, and you
You're
could,
not
there's
you.
some situations, a large group, and you're observing at the back, like what else are you doing, right?
Yeah,
Besides
yeah.
watching people's auras do their thing.
Absolutely. Interesting.
I know. I'm just like,
I know.
I could go
It's
on
cool
forever.
shit.
I swear I could. Okay, so you I think it was, I can't remember where I read this in regards to your bio and website and stuff, but you believe that we're all born with a team of angels or guides.
Yep.
So are they people that we know? Are they human? Are they?
Typically not people that we know, however, because we're born with them. So
Mhm.
we're born with a team of angels and guides. So there will be people that we've had past lives with. So not every single person incarnates down with us at that moment. So
Right.
they might stay behind, but mostly angels. So people are like, oh, I want to know my guides. And I believe we at least have a horseshoe around us, at least 7 of them. And it took me years to fully connect to each one individually, but there's lots of meditations. They'd just be sitting there and be like asking one to come forward and seeing what other information I can kind of feel from them. And so people, sorry.
Do any of those take like physical form around you? Or is it mainly just the spirit of them?
So I have an angel on my 6. So the friend that passed a decade ago, he's on my back and he'll like envelop me in his wings. Physically, I'll feel that. I mean, mind you, it's energetically. No, they're just all there. So we have a love guide, joy guide, humor, protection, our warrior, our divine wisdom, and they all just kind of help guide us to certain points.
Right.
So each one has its own role, or they kind of all work together?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
Yes, so they each have their own role, but they all work together just to help align us. Again, we have this path, and then we're born, and we forget the path and the
Right.
plan, right? So they kind of keep us adjacent to our path. So when
Right.
doors are shutting, opportunities are slipping out of our fingers, rejection, this is all saving us from things that aren't ours, versus feeling like passionate towards things, drawn, pulled, pushed, whatever. Those are like, the signs are all aligning for this. This is them orchestrating everything around you to
Right.
you as this like dense human being to just follow the signs
Yeah,
towards your
do it.
path, right? Yes.
It's your fate.
What's your fate?
So it's their mission. So Joe, who's again with me, I wasn't born with him.
Right. So
he
he was
came-
a physical being, and then
Right, and then he came.
right. That's
So we do
interesting.
like we'll have our grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins, people from our childhood will pass, and then we gain a new angel.
Right. Interesting.
So if there's people from that pass, and you don't even have to like, well, I didn't really know them. Well, that doesn't matter. But have you like thought about them a bit ever since? Did they pop into your mind like that?
Yeah,
Those kinds of things. 'Cause
Yeah.
typically that's like they're with you.
Interesting.
I want to do this because for me, I
Yes.
because for me, I'm like, if I would have one, it would just
Asymmetrical.
yeah, it's exactly right.
Control freak over here.
Yeah, exactly. Not for anything, just for comfort. I feel. What was another question that I had? So you talked about people that are stuck, that have passed on, are considered ghosts. So like, can you explain
Like the level. So when we pass, so it's this transition out of this body back into our spirit form. So spirit form is our eternal form. We incarnate in this body for this experience. So death is just the doorway back home, essentially. And so it's accompanied by a white light, which we've heard, right? Like
Yes,
going
yeah.
into the light. So you don't have to go into the light. When we pass, and if it's tragic or sudden, spirits are typically confused, right? Like we've all seen ghosts. They're like, well, okay, I'm not like, I don't know what happened. So they kind of go back to their life and they're starting to, they're trying to relive, but nobody can see them and they're trying to get people's attention.
It's like a real
and-
thing?
Absolutely.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I just got
It
shivers.
makes total sense. Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
So, and there's a lot of times like they'll get stuck in that aspect. There was one woman I remember, it was a huge century home out in Grimsby, and she was a maid whose baby got taken away from her, and she passed due to whatever illness was like rampant at the time. But when she crossed, it was like, where's my baby? Where's my baby? So when I walk into this house, she's like, where's my baby? Where's my baby? Have you seen my baby? They took my baby. And she was just in this like frenzied state, and they were renovating. and they were floor sanding while I was there, and then she just started like wailing because the noise, and it was just like, what is going on? And like, where's my baby? Where's my baby? I'm like, oh my gosh, like you gotta go, right? Like for her sake, especially like torture for how long?
Yeah.
But she wouldn't go. So typically, like I would light a blessed candle. I would bring some kind of like smoke into it. And then just like ask her angels and like the white light, and just like it's all kind of a process done here in my mind. But she wasn't going willingly. So like angels came and took her, and like it was that like pulling away, kicking and screaming. But I knew that she would find her healing and comfort, and her baby when she crossed.
She had to.
That's
So I mean that is like kind of worst case, but there's a lot of like people who pass in the homes. This was another interesting one. He was a sinner because he was religious, so he felt he sinned, so he wasn't going to heaven, and he wasn't going otherwise, so he was just going to stay.
He's like, well,
I'll just stay here in my home.
Made my bed, gonna lie,
Right, so the current owners were like, we'd like him to leave, right?
Yeah.
So that's when I came down. I'm like, sir, like this isn't your home anymore. He's like, oh, but I'm a sinner, and do you have anyone on the other side for you? And his wife came forward and grabbed his hand, and they crossed over together, and I'm like, okay.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Wow. So you're still in you're still in your own mind. You are still like,
well, right, it was right in front of me, and the homeowner was there with me, but she's not seeing the interaction that I'm seeing between the two and the angels, right? And like some people have that ability too, for sure. But no, it's mostly it's just me in my head.
But it's just I just find this just so interesting, and I can't wrap my head around it all. Like I'm just blown away by it. I think it's the most interesting thing, and I wish that I could dive deeper into it. So
and you can, absolutely.
Like I'm like might like your course there. So
absolutely.
I feel like I've asked. I think what I.
Yeah, we pretty much asked everything.
Yeah.
So do you have anything else that you can see from us, or that you feel, or?
So talking about coaches. So coaching. So is that something that either of you have thought about, or do you already like consider yourselves one? It feels like through this at the very least, but they're talking about there being other avenues for you both in which you're like coaching and helping women through.
Well, we both wanted to be teachers.
Okay.
And I think that's one of the main reasons why we started this podcast, was to have our voice be heard to other people, and to hopefully maybe our trials and tribulations can help other people, right? So that was definitely
I'm very open and honest. That's just it's very hard for me to lie, and so I find that with my honesty, I try to help people because I like being vulnerable. So if I'm vulnerable, maybe that allows people to be vulnerable as well.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Lets them know it's okay.
Yeah.
They're talking about like larger platforms. Like I'm seeing like an auditorium.
Give it to me.
Type.
Who's
group,
yeah.
right? Okay, so they would be your spirit guides. Tell my spirit guides what to show me, kind of thing. Or it's a spirit guides activity.
And can I'm sorry, because this is probably might not be a normal reading where I interject. I have no idea, but it's like, would this being a kind of your guided reading where you're trying to help us through life's path? Like, what does this?
So typically, why they even called me Pathfinder is because that was what my readings were focused on.
Yeah.
So like, don't come to me for a love reading unless it's about, because I'm going to turn you to like love yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to find love?
I was like, oh well, can you tell me?
You're the love of your life. Damn it! So and honestly, like, and I firmly believe unless you're there, you're not going to attract that true.
I keep telling her that, honestly.
But no, it's more like just who you are authentically yourself, and like just what obstacles are preventing you from getting there is typically how it goes.
And typically it's ourselves.
Yeah,
That's our obstacle.
Oh, always. Yeah.
Like I can't blame other people.
No, that's not. Yeah, for other people, it's always us. Yeah, for sure. I mean, sometimes they contribute. To the way we feel about ourselves, for sure. So now you're back to the platforms. Gardening, greenery is. What have you really connected to, like
Yeah.
Mainly her, but yeah, because of her, I've gotten more into it. But yeah.
Okay, but and also like, is there any kind of herbology or like medicine kind of with it? Like, are we?
I really am into like I've wanted to learn more about like herbology, basically. Like I want to be able to go out and pick things that I can use.
Okay, forage for wild stuff,
forage,
and then
right? Like
turn
I'm
into
really
tinctures
into it. Yeah, really into it, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's definitely something I want to get into for sure.
And they talk about, and I don't often see this. They're saying that your vibrational level is good for consumable products. So just like more on that. So like so tinctures and things that you create using herbs that like people are consuming need to be of like highest vibration, highest grade. Right? So you can't be I've had friends who like were taking a tincture from a practitioner, but then she changed and the vibration of the flower essence changed. And it was feeling funky.
Right.
Because her energy was. So what they're saying is that you have a vibration that is high and pure, where you could be creating these products that are consumable for people.
That's really weird. I used to actually do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to make like soaps and lip balms, and like I would sell them and stuff.
Okay.
Have my
Well,
own
there you
company.
go. Okay.
But yeah, like that's the thing, that it felt weird, and I wasn't making the product that I really wanted to make, and from when it started.
Yeah.
So I was just like, screw it, I'm done. You know?
Yes.
So.
Travel feels big with you. Like I even see, I don't feel like a home base.
I don't really ever have one, so.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
It really feels like we could be here, there, and everywhere, and for like undetermined amounts of time.
Interesting, yeah.
I'm seeing there being. I just heard Mexico, so I've never been, but like we're
I've never
here
been
in
either.
Mexico,
Okay.
and it's a whole video blog of like what you're doing and why you're there. You're not alone. I am feeling a partner. You had said boyfriend, but I am seeing a male with you. And I'm seeing there being so much like they're talking about like the wild, like the plants that grow there. Also talking about the food. And then I'm talking about there being a certain spiritual practice or certain spiritual practices that you kind of get in and really delve into. So whether yoga, guided meditation, breath work, grounding, like I feel like you find something that just becomes like you're
awesome.
I'm traveling around the world and doing this type of thing.
This is my purpose.
Yeah. But just for like a period of time.
Right.
Because then there feels like they're showing me like a settling down for like a decade period in which we're like in one location, but you might not know or have found that location yet.
Don't leave.
And talking about
My cat's here.
okay, something you sell online. I don't know if it's a membership or like a subscription box or like something, but there's something that you're selling, and this is why like it's kind of it works for you.
Right, my own job basically.
Yeah,
I'm my own boss.
like it doesn't matter where you are in the world.
Ooh, I like
you're
that.
able to like you're making an income, or just your membership alone is generating, or your subscription box alone is generating enough income for you to just be free.
That would be lovely.
And then they said that you have lots of creating to do.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And there's some hands-on things, but there's also like I just heard content and courses.
Cool.
So is there a course you're looking at?
French.
Okay, taking.
I've been wanting to take French for a couple years now.
Okay, they're also talking about running.
Running.
In the future.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. I've never been a runner, but I mean, I don't know how far I could go right now.
No, not running. A group that you're running.
Oh.
Like you're a facilitator.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. I was gonna say like a physical
I'm like, there's somewhere like me. I don't know. Hold on.
What did I say?
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
And then there's an older couple that's kind of coming forward. They're not together though. I have a female here on my paternal side typically, and a male on my maternal side typically, but doesn't have to be. They can go wherever they want. One of them feels like a connection to another country. Is mom's side have a connection to another country?
That I do not know. Possibly. We don't really know too much about my grandfather's parents.
Okay.
So it could quite possibly be, yeah, because I know himself grew up in Marinichi. So
I don't even know where that is.
that's in
Yeah.
Canada. It's in Canada.
okay.
It's on the reserve. in
Okay.
Canada. So yeah.
Can I ask, sorry, do you know if it is specific to Steph or specific to me in this
They're
moment?
standing behind her.
Okay,
I want to
okay.
say her, but that's again not a hard and fast rule. That's what like my job is really subjective because they can do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
They can appear whatever age they want. They might have died elderly, but if they liked how they looked when they were 40, I got a 40-year-old.
Good to know.
That's
Good
good
to
to
know.
So age is funny, facial hair, the way they do their
So
hair.
they can make
Right.
we can make ourselves look like whatever we want.
Right, and it's like it
Love
makes
that.
my job harder because I'm like
Yeah,
this,
and you're like,
this
who
guy
are
died
you?
bald, but now he's like rocking this
Oh,
head of
yeah.
hair.
Of course.
That's great.
Of course he is.
That's too funny.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Right on.
And talking about with you certification, education, learning, are you still in school? Is there still like something that you're taking? Certification?
No, but I've been also looking to go back to teaching. So to start a course again, go back into school.
I just got asked, is that what you want to do? So you don't have to answer this to
Oh.
me? Or
If
is that what
you
you
don't know, I don't know.
Or is that what you feel you need to do? It feels like more like you like humanly feel you need to go back into that versus like that's what you want to be doing or should be
That's a
doing.
great way to put it. Yes,
Mhm.
that makes more sense.
So what they're showing me is there's more like a course that you take for you
Okay.
to further something you want to do versus like going back to teaching.
Okay.
I see you teaching, but I don't think it's teaching what you think you're going to be teaching. Yours feels governed.
Hmm.
Like what you teach would be like, here's what you teach.
Hmm.
Is that accurate? Versus like you running your own thing and it could be whatever you want it to be.
Well, I don't know. I felt more that I would be somewhat like Stephanie and being more creative and open to it, but I could see both ways, I think.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna ask this because it makes it awkward. Otherwise, is there currently not a partner in your life?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so they're saying that there's somebody coming in, and
Yay!
like very soon.
Yeah.
Oh god, okay.
I love that for her.
That distracts you a bit from like
Oh,
where you
fuck.
think you're going right now.
Perfect.
So again, they're like where you think you're going. So you're like me as a human. I'm gonna like do this, and they're just like, it's not really where we want you to spend your time. So they're gonna like put someone in to kind of like derail your current plans, but that's where you're supposed to be. They're also talking about there being there's been a period of like time for you and healing, and there's like you got a funny one on your side. This is like no, there's a female, an older female who just she talks a lot of sass.
It's probably my grandmother.
And she's like. She's gonna turn into like one of them old spinsters. Like you just seem so, like focused on like you and what you're doing and kind of blinders, but like you've been healing and dealing with. And she goes, we don't even want to talk about the past.
Okay.
You might privately, but like she's just for the purposes of this, she doesn't want to.
Yeah.
But talking about there's somebody coming in who's gonna help bring balance and play and joy back into your life, and also. Talking about there being an increase in like your femininity and like a softer masculine side, because our masculine side is that driven, ambitious, go-getter portion, right? But where can we just like sit back and just like flow and
Okay.
in awareness, kind of
Right,
love, right?
Yeah.
So that's what they're saying. Like your next portion of time is meant to do, like enjoy your life. Because that's what takes us to like
Okay.
next level, right? It's not like pushing hard and.
Can I ask if that person is staying or is it another friggin' like another?
Well, okay. So honestly, so that's like back to like not my love readings.
I'm sorry.
No. It's a question that everyone has, right? So like I'm actually passionate about talking about it. I teach a sex magic workroom.
Yes. Oh yes. you
Because
do.
I'm really like that's sex and love is a huge part of the
big deal, yeah,
human
yeah.
experience, right? So let's like talk about any issues around that. Back to the love. Okay, so if you're not the right person, you're not going to attract the right person. And like you by default isn't like the right person, because if you have baggage, then unworthiness issues coming from past relationships, you're not going to attract the right partner. Bottom line.
Absolutely.
So this is where like Grandma's saying that you've been healing and dealing and recognizing your self-worth and shedding off their, okay, she's talking about there being like some gaslighting and some manipulating in your past. So that like it kind of just, it messes up your head, right? Honestly, it puts people in a state of like PTSD and they don't even really realize, right? Like it's scary, the narcissism that is rampant out there and how it affects sensitive and empathic beings. So until we can overcome that, like once you have those red flags that you see, you'll never attract another narcissist again. Mind you, they also come in female and friend form and family members. You kind of have to watch for it. But once you're aware and just know you're worthy, they don't come near you. An unempowered empath is a narcissist's dream. But an empowered empath is their nightmare. They will stay away, right? So as long as you just know how amazing you are, you'll attract someone who knows you're equally as amazing. So it's up to you. No, they're talking about the being substantial, solid longevity.
Okay.
But just my disclaimer, I don't believe in any one person for our entire life.
Awesome. I was going to ask you about twin flames and stuff like that.
I don't, honestly, so I never resonated with it. So again, that back to personal beliefs, that concept. The only thing that maybe I agreed with was the runner chaser. If you're running after, or if you're chasing someone, they're running.
Right.
Interesting.
So even just that,
equal all the
the mindset is I don't chase, I attract.
Yeah, you attract what you want.
Yes.
Or what's coming to
What's-
you,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
even chase.
Absolutely.
So that I understood. So no, I don't believe, again, there's one person that like our soul is then split into two and then we come to earth to like find each other. A lot of people will have that chemistry with someone and they're like, oh my god, this is so amazing, this has to be my twin flame, right? And I'm like, oh, a karmic connection, right? Like that is like hot and intense and could potentially fizzle out.
Absolutely.
Somebody had once said their idea of twin flame was that our soul can break into two, so that we can have two human experiences simultaneously, so that our soul elevates that much quicker and further. And she's a past life regressionist, and so she had done her own like twin flame guided meditation and connected to herself, and she saw through her other set of eyes, and she saw like a burqa style. So she was like, she felt like a woman in Turkey. Was like where her other part, like her actual twin soul.
So I've seen that where there's people who are like same name, same relation, like, so is that
Possibly.
Could probably be a different gender too, right? Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we do that. So like, we haven't always just been women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly there's a lot of men who like, man, I don't maybe want that. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
why not as a soul? If we're coming here like hundreds of thousands of times, why not?
Why
Yeah,
not
switch
try
it up.
switch it up a little?
And honestly, that even speaks to some of like the gender issues we're having now,
Yeah,
right? Like, so if
absolutely.
you're typically in a female body, but you're coming here as a male for a first time, you may still
very-
strongly be connecting to your female.
Yeah.
Very
past,
interesting.
right?
Interesting. Yeah.
Wow. I feel like I have so much more. When you're doing readings, do people ask questions? Like, do you get definite answers?
Typically, there's some times where it's like unknown, unclear, and I'll be very clear on that. Genders and babies, I'm the worst. Like, if I feel it's a girl, it will be a boy.
Yeah. Okay.
So I've even started saying that.
Can you tell when someone's pregnant? Can you tell when?
No, it's not. Again, it's not like a nosy kind of thing where I'm just like, I wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more like if you're in front of me and inquiring, I'll tell you whatever they're saying.
Yeah. What are they saying for me?
So it feels like this travel bit first.
Something comes first.
So like this 10-year hiatus that you take of not traveling feels like because we have a family that's little and we're gonna just stay put while we raise them, but then like as soon as they're like backpack ready,
Let's go.
we're out, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then I do feel like a multiple, like it's you're gonna commit to like, okay, like for the next couple of years, like that's will be our focus, right?
Okay. Cool. Good to know.
My mom had a question, if that was okay.
Yeah.
My mom wants to ask her mom, who just recently passed, is she doing okay? Is the choices that my mom are making about my grandmother's house and everything, is that right?
Is this the sassy grandma?
Probably.
Because she's still the one continuing to speak.
Which is funny because she's very.
Is she Italian?
Yeah.
Okay, the way she was like, why is she not on TV? So she started with like, oh my goodness, yes, of course. And she's apologizing for not having everything cut and dry. It feels like there's been something either questionable, undone, or something mom has had to enforce, or there's somebody she's had to like stand up to with regards to it. I'm not sure, but it feels like there's been something, so she's just apologizing. And like every decision that she's making, if it's right for her, it's the right decision. She also wants her though to make more decisions for her and less
Preach,
for...
Nana.
She goes to this dead lady. Like that's what she called herself, right? Like make more decisions for yourself other than this dead lady.
Yeah.
Like that's like she's fine. She's great. Zero connection to anything physical and location, just people.
Yeah. Okay.
And was there a period of time, I am feeling like a bit of restriction near the end of her life. So whether like not mobile or just like couldn't get around, couldn't see people, because she's very much like enjoying visiting people. Do you have family like all over? Like big family? I keep mentioning.
That's okay. Well, she's Italian, so she has some family in Italy. She has some family here. We have family kind of all spurts around.
Okay,
Canada.
so she's just like a family reunion is what she's at right now, just around visiting everyone.
Lovely.
And has her stuff been given to people?
Yeah.
So she likes to follow up to see like what they do with it.
That's her white little iron. Thing. Yeah. That's been passed out, and the person that was living in her home, because she ended up living with my mom and dad for her last few years. That lady also left a ton of stuff that we've been just kind of divvying it out.
Yes.
So yeah.
And she wants mom to like finally focus on her. And it still feels like there's still. I'm hearing kids, but I don't feel like you're any of your kids. I feel siblings. Is that correct?
I have siblings, and we all have kids.
You all have kids?
Yeah.
Okay, so she just feels worried about the kids. But again, I don't feel like her kids are kids.
No.
And then partner. So is dad still?
Her partner?
Yeah.
No.
She doesn't have a partner? So they're talking about like she still has everything in front of her to like distract herself with, where they want her to focus on her.
Yes, that is exactly right.
Okay.
But this is a lifelong battle we've been trying to do with my mom, so maybe this will help.
Yeah. Well, honestly, it's that generation because they were never taught, because their parents were never taught to like take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Self-love, self-care was never a thing. It was like as a woman, you take care of your house, your family, never
You come
right?
last.
Right. So honestly, like the mother's guilt that generation feels is just awful, but it's us who are like we're stopping it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Can I ask if you see? I have someone who passed away when she was young.
Like young child?
20s. She's 20.
No, I'm caught up with like this 5-year-old. Darker skin, brown, darker hair, and she's in like a white like communion dress. Do you know who this little girl is?
No.
Okay.
Maybe she was here before.
No, she popped in with your family. So this lady in the 20s, did you know her as a child?
Yes, throughout.
Like you grew up with her?
Yeah.
Were you at her communion? Like, does this stand out? Was she
Yes,
at a
but
wedding? Was
she's
she
the palest woman I've ever.
Okay, so
Yeah,
not
no,
like
definitely.
Okay, so not her. Okay. Was it illness?
Honestly, kind of hard to say. It was a birth control from my understanding, and then within a week, she passed away.
Okay. There's a lady I'm connecting to, more on like a frail, petite sense, and I'm hearing illness. So did she have a long-term illness? And then this.
Unless we don't know, but no, not that I know of.
No, she's not wanting to connect to me right now.
Cool.
She's not doing her own thing.
Yeah, she's partying with Elvis.
Yeah.
Well, so I just heard, again, I'm not seeing her, but I just heard I can connect to her. So do you connect to her?
I do talk to her all the time, but not anything that I felt was concrete that she's there, other than me just saying hello.
Have you ever asked for a sign or received any?
I've asked many times.
And not received any?
Not that I've picked up on.
I don't know if it's her. So at first I'm like her belief system in mediums. So if they also have like a religious connection, there's sometimes a lot of time depending on when they pass, they may not. Also their energy levels. She's like, I heard that disembodied voice of like she can connect to you on her own.
She's over it.
So like doesn't want
She's over it.
come to me. Talking about you carrying her legacy on. Is that something that you've done or will do?
Not something that I've actively done. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know even how it works.
Not necessarily like name your firstborn after her, but like
No.
something along the lines of like I feel like there's something that you do in honor of her.
I have a tattoo for her.
Oh.
A lot of us do, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the legacy of her, but yeah.
But that's huge though, right? Like that's like she'll never die in that sense because you guys will always see her, and that's part of their legacy that lives on. Yeah, she's way more your friend in spirit than wanting to come forward to me right now.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fine.
Okay.
My I'm glad that my sassy nonna came in.
Yeah.
She was the first one.
Yeah.
To me, yeah.
She's it is how recent they passed. Does that make any sort of difference?
Yes and no. So they have their life review to do after. So like what
does that look like?
Well, honestly, they sit in a chair with a video and like they watch their life, and it's quick time, right? And they do a review because there's a healing process. We don't just like get out of this human body and we're just back to that like pure light soul. There's definitely a healing process from coming here. So that's when we do that, and then the review, and people talk about like the karma, good or bad person. I think we're all just trying our best, and
yeah, absolutely.
And so we go through a lot of that, like some spirits, less more now these days, but they have a lot of remorse when they pass. Why did I do that? Or why was I a jerk? Why did I work so much? And so it's through their life review where they see that, and then they come back, and sometimes their family's like, no, my dad was such an asshole. He never respected anything, and he's like, tell her I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think there was more on the life review.
Your
specific question.
My specific question was, does it matter how soon after?
So yeah, they're busy doing that, and then just like them figuring it out. So sometimes, I mean, I've connected to people the same day of their passing.
Oh wow!
So it's really just kind of how quickly they do what they got to do, and for the purposes of whatever they got to do.
After years and years and years of being gone, does that change how strong or how strong they come through?
So sometimes, so now if we're going into like reincarnation, so if somebody's wanting me to connect to their dad who's now back as their son or nephew, or so sometimes it will get a little bit, like they'll come in like far and faded, or sometimes their higher self is like right here, but it's like, I'm back. So like dad's here, but telling me he's back. So let's look at like the males in your life or females who have been born recently, and like how does that feel?
And that would be the soul cycle. Again, and I'm sorry because we're kind of jumping back and forth between questions and reading, but I heard, so like the people that you are kind of connected to in this life, you'll always be connected to those people in other lives.
So
in different forms.
Soulmates are the people that we will consistently travel with into different incarnations. So they say like there's like your top 10 and your top 100. So the top 10 people would be your closest people to you, and you would typically tend to incarnate together in the life. So either being like sister, husband, mother, father,
they
like
can change.
Children, absolutely, yes.
Interesting. That's so interesting. Okay, is there anything else that you can
Like as far as like a reading, I would say I could talk about these things going on forever. Talking about there being a connection. I'm honestly like GTA Toronto area, so talking about there being like a connection up in this area for you ladies that kind of takes this to a whole new level and really increases your market. And I feel like one of you already has a connection to someone who knows someone out there, so it's just a matter of like finding that right thing. But they're talking about more expansion. Like more expansion on this means more expansion for the both of you in your own individual things. And they're talking about this like evolving, changing, growing, and then eventually fading out, but it's because you're on video traveling and you're doing your things on platforms. But honestly, look into like the coaching, even if it's just like, you don't even have to be a certified coach, honestly. There's like a weekend program, but just like looking at like, what does that mean for people? Because I see the two of you being really good. And they're saying you do it now with like friends and family, but just like helping coach people to finding their peace, right? And whatever that means and whatever problem and issue they have.
Public speakers, baby.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Really helping people.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
One soul at a time, right?
Wow.
Well, I mean, that was amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here. This was nice.
Yeah, I mean, so where can everybody find your stuff?
Just Google Amanda Dubois. Amanda Dubois Pathfinder. My social stuff will come up. I'm on Spiritual Niagara's website. Local to Niagara region, so on my...
Perfect.
And as we said, we'll have
we're gonna tag her and everything, and so you can find her, have an amazing chat like we just did with her. We are so thankful, so touched, and what a way to start our second season.
Yeah, nothing's gonna top this.
I know.
We really screwed ourselves.
No, we're manifesting.
Yeah, that's true.
Great speakers all year. If I make negative jokes, does that impact things? Because I need to know.
Sometimes.
Shit.
The vibrations of our words carry.
That's true.
But so do our thoughts.
Okay.
Right? So if at the very least stop saying it,
Recognize.
start speaking things into existence.
Okay. All right. I gotta work on my negative jokes.
You're good.
As long as you don't like feel and believe it. That
Gotcha. Okay.
Absolutely.
No. This has been really empowering, really wonderful. As Steph said, we're so thankful to have you, really. So please, everybody, check out Amanda. We'll link everything below, but thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you
so much.
That was exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, that was absolutely amazing. What a way to kick off season 2. And honestly, what a great soul that we just had sitting in our presence.
I feel privileged to be able to sit with her and learn from her. I loved how we were able to go back and forth, and she was open to that. It's just
everything from the beginning she was open to. Yeah, and she is a very intuitive person, and I feel like we are too. So as soon as we found her and you started talking to her, we knew that this was going to make sense. And I
feel good.
Yeah.
Good about your path?
I mean, I want to freaking travel. I just need to find the money to do so.
So we didn't ask if we're going to get money.
You know what? Maybe I just sell everything.
I'll text her.
How does she get the money to do it?
How do we do this?
But
that was nice. I was really hoping for my grandmother to come through, and I can confidently say that I'm a sassy.
Yeah, I was like, as soon as she's like, the one with a lot of like sass, I was like, I don't even know her, but I already knew.
Doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, I already knew.
Yeah. That was really enlightening for me. We really hope it was enlightening for you guys.
At least just the conversation in terms of spirituality and being spiritual, but not being spiritual, and just being open to new possibilities.
And the idea of no matter what path your soul is on, you are in control.
You're in control.
You manifest the positivity. That's the whole thing. We have to.
It's your fucking life.
Oh, it's good.
At the end of the day, right?
This was reassuring. This was eye-opening. This was so great. I feel great. Now we made it. I don't know if we'll top this, but I think we'll. She says we'll.
we have bigger and higher paths. We're gonna be famous.
stars.
We're gonna be stars, baby.
That's all I ever wanted.
Well, hey, we're on the right path.
Right, we are. That feels good. I feel good.
That's something, right?
Okay, so we asked Amanda to give us music, as we do. If you know us by now, you know we always feature some
shtick.
sort of
You know the
artist.
shtick.
You got the poem in the beginning, you got the music at the end. It's what we do.
It's what we do here.
So Amanda gave us
Good Vibrations by Marky Mark.
Marky Mark.
An 80s fucking sensation. So, of course, we are going to feature Good Vibrations by Marky Mark. Right to the yeah.
Oh, good song.
Love that.
Sex, baby. Yeah.
No. Good Vibrations.
Beep, 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 beep.
Okay, but anyway, yeah. So happy freaking Halloween.
Are we gonna see you? We don't know when.
We don't know. We're just rolling with the flow.
Okay, we
Good
come out when we come out.
vibrations.
Yeah.
And you're gonna enjoy it because we're putting that into the universe.
Right.
So anyway, on that fucking note, my friend, let's boogie.
Catch you on the flip side.